I'm that bookish mom, and I did it again, y'all. Book outlet haul. 13 books this time, 2 more than last time, and I spent about $20 less. So if you watched my last book outlet haul, I got 11 books for around $50. This time, I got 13 books for $36. You're just too good, book outlet. You're just too good. So what I did was I sorted all the books from cheapest to most expensive and kind of just skimmed through there and bought what I thought sounded interesting. One of the books that I got was Hidden by Helen Frost. So the two main characters are Ren and Dara. 6 years ago is when Ren was in the back of Dara's dad's car hiding, and Dara's dad takes off with Ren in the back of the car, not knowing that she's there. And so I don't really know what happens after that. Somehow 6 years later they end up at the same camp dealing with their issues of the past. Another book I got was We Are All Made of Molecules by Susan Nielsen, and I bought this book because it just sounded funny, and a lot of the little blurbs on here talk about the humor. So there's a not so popular 13-year-old boy named Stuart and a super popular 14-year-old girl named Ashley. Their parents move in together, which means that they are now living together. And so they're just kind of figuring out how this is all going to work out, because they are not very excited about living together. So like I said, I bought this hoping that it will be a really funny read. I also got The Bone Snatcher by Charlotte Salter. This cover is really, I love this cover. I love this cover, and it's the main reason I bought this book, but also it just sounds really awesome. So we have the main character, Sophie C. Cove, which I love her name. It is so cute. Sophie C. Cove is abandoned by her parents and left at a, I believe, haunted mansion that's on an island that's surrounded by sea creatures. And she seems like she's going to be a really spunky, tough girl who is going to save herself and get off of this island. So how could I not get this? The cover is just so awesome. I love this cover. The Underdogs by Sarah Hamill is a mystery, and two best friends, Evie and Chelsea, they're 12, and they want to figure out who killed Annabelle Harper. So Annabelle Harper's body appeared at a tennis club on the side of a pool, and they are on summer vacation trying to figure out what happened. So this just sounded really cool, and I really like the cover of this one too. Another book I got was Letters to the Lost by Bridget Kimmerer. I don't know. But I've heard lots of good things about this book. This is about a girl, Juliet, who lost her mother and goes to leave letters at her grave for her. And Declan, I believe his name is just trying to get overcome his past, and he's, I believe, working at the graveyard that her mother is buried at, and finds her letters and starts writing letters back to her, and I assume a relationship blossoms from that. I'm assuming that they grow closer to each other. I just like the idea of them writing letters to each other, not knowing who each other really is face to face. And so I'm really excited to see what becomes of that. This Summer I Learned to Fly by Dana Reinhardt. This is about a girl, Drew, who meets a strange boy who, all I know is he has a cut on his cheek from what I read on the inside, and he's like this encyclopedia of like knowledge, and I think it's just about their friendship. It just sounded really good. I just like the fact that she has a pet rat, and the boy that she meets knows like everything there is to know about rats. Is that a silly reason to want to read this? Like, I don't even care. Sounds good. Another book I got was The Sound of Life and Everything by Krista Van Dulzer. This is another super cheap book that just sounded really interesting. So there's a 12-year-old girl named Ella May. Her cousin Robbie dies, and her aunt finds a scientist that can bring him back, and someone is brought back, but it's not her cousin Robbie, because this boy that's brought back is Japanese, and this is during World War II, and the Japanese are still feared and mistreated, and so now they're kind of just taking care of this boy that they accidentally brought back and trying to help him survive during this time where the Japanese are just not so popular here in the US right now because of the war. And so Ella is wanting to teach him English and help him through this, and he's dealing with painful memories of his past, and she's also just learning things about her family. So I don't know, this sounded like really interesting. I also got I Believe in a Thing Called Love by Maureen Gu. So the thing about this book is I really wanted The Way You Make Me Feel by Maureen Gu, but it was not on Book Outlet. So I got another novel of hers until I can get The Way You Make Me Feel. So I don't really know anything about this other than this is the same author of The Way You Make Me Feel. It's obviously going to be about love, but I'm way excited about this one just because I heard lots of good things about The Way You Make Me Feel by Maureen Gu, and so I'm just going to read this to prepare myself for The Way You Make Me Feel. This has been out for a while. It's about a world of color, and there's a girl that has no color, and I just think that this is going to be a really good book, and I've heard lots of good things about it, and so I don't know. I feel like everybody knows about this book already, so I'm not going to say a whole lot about it because I don't know if my camera's going to cut me off, but look at this cover. I'm so happy to own it because it's such a beautiful cover. 100 Days of Cake is about a girl, Molly. She's been dealing with depression, and her therapist suggests baking a cake and just getting her mind off of all these things that are causing this depression. So her therapist thinks that baking a cake and baking the perfect cake will be the perfect way to just forget her troubles. The name of the book comes from that, but I really don't think it's all about baking cake. I think it's more of just her getting through this depression and figuring out how to live life just one day at a time. I also bought the third book by Margaret Peterson Haddix. The first book is just Ella, the second book is Palace of Mirrors, and since I have the first two, I figured this was only $1, so why not get the third book, and it is Palace of Lies. So it's just another story in that series. Since these were also super cheap, I bought a new series. The problem is I can't start it because I don't have the first book. So let's see. I think The Nightmare Dilemma is the second book, and The Nightmare Charade is the third book. I don't know which one of these comes first, but this is the Blackwell Academy series, and it just sounded really good, and I really like the covers. And so what I did was I went and I bought the first book on Amazon, and I'm waiting for it. So now I have 3 books in a series that I just barely found out about just because it was really cheap on Book Outlet. I have a problem. So the first book is The Nightmare Affair, and it just looked good. It's about friends. I think they're solving mysteries at their Blackwell Academy school, or is it Arkwell? I keep confusing it. Arkwell Academy. I don't know anything about these books, but I still want to read them. I got problems. So that was my second ever Book Outlet haul, and like I said, I'm just creating problems with myself because I have all these books that I want to read, and I don't know what to read first. If you can help me by commenting about any of these books that you've read that you think I should read first. Book Outlet, what are you doing to me?